And now Mr. Philippos Papageorgiou will be speaking, and he's the Director of Aquaculture of National Fisheries Development Program, NFDP. He'll be speaking about the role of aquaculture in Saudi Arabia's blue economy. Mr. Philippos, the mic is yours.
Shukran, salam alaikum, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to this session. We're going to talk about the blue economy in the whole of the session. So I'm going to start about what is the role of aquaculture in the country's blue economy. We keep on hearing this term, blue economy. There are a number of definitions from various organizations and bodies. In simple words, it's all the anthropogenic economic activities that take place in the marine environment or to the coastal environment adjacent to the marine environment, and practices that are being done in a very sustainable, that have to be done in a sustainable way. And the next question is, why aquaculture? I mean, over the last 2 days, we keep on hearing over and over again the reasons why we need to invest in aquaculture. And first and foremost, we're going to be far too many people in this planet, and we need to find a ways of feeding these populations. We are close to 9 million. We're going to be close to 9 to 10 billion people in 2050. And a lot of this population is going to be in large urban centers. So we need to find food for these people. At the same time, the planet's resources are under huge pressure. We have biodiversity loss, we have climate change, all the things that we all know quite well. At the same time, we see an increase in seafood consumption. We've moved globally from around 9 kilos per capita in the early 60s to over 20 kilos just a few years back. And fisheries will not supply the demand of seafood that is expected. If we keep stable the fisheries, we're going to have a demand gap of around 70 million tons. But capture fisheries are not stable, they're diminishing. So we expect to have a demand gap of around 130 million tons. So aquaculture is a way to feed the world. It is the most resource-efficient food production method. It has the lowest FCR, the food conversion ratio, the amount of feed that you give in and feed flesh, eatable flesh that you get out. I'm not going into the details. We've seen similar pictures over the last 2 days. It is the most environmentally sustainable food production method with the less carbon dioxide emission, less nitrogen emission, phosphorus, and so on. It has the lowest carbon footprint, and it uses the least possible water. That figure may look big to you, but this is for flow-through systems. In the sea, we don't use fresh water. So this is high-quality animal feed produced without the use of fresh water. And it's a solution for food security. It's the fastest growing food-producing sector. It's been growing at a rate between 7 to 10%, depending on the species. Already around 2013, 2015, we passed the threshold, and we consume, most of the fish that we consume comes from aquaculture. In the years to come, that percentage, that share will increase. We will be consuming more and more fish from aquaculture. And this is the global state of aquaculture. There's about 114 million tons produced globally at an ex-farm value of $263 billion US, and this sector provides livelihoods to almost 40 million people around the world. The question is, why aquaculture in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? We have a growing population. It's going to be around 40 people in this country soon. There is an increase in animal production, in animal consumption over the years, but at the same time, there's been increasing awareness on health concerns and a need to change, to improve the dietary habits of the people in this country. That was an article a couple of years back. It showed that Saudi people suffer from a lot of diseases, nutrition-related diseases, obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, and so on. We need to reverse that. We need to improve the dietary habit of the people. And that article was just a few weeks back. It was estimated that obesity is costing Saudi Arabia around 20 billion US dollars per year. That's a huge cost on medical and social security. So we need to alleviate that burden. Seafood, as we all know, is very good source of food. It's very good for the health of humans for a variety of reasons, at a variety of life stages of people. We must consume at least seafood at least twice per week. Where is the local market? In the last survey that we did 2 years back, now it's 3 years back, we estimated that the market, the Saudi market, is around 310,000 tons. With a population of 34 million, that means that the average consumption is around 9 kg. I'll go back to that one. Aquaculture production is around 65,000 tons. We produce around 65,000 tons from capture fisheries, but we do import a lot. If we take into account the amount of exports, that means that we supply less than 30%. And as we said, consumption is low. Consumption is around 9 kg per capita. Aquaculture supplies only 8%, less than a kilo, 700 grams of what we consume. If we take into account that a big part of the consumption is attributed to low-income expats from Southeast Asia or from Africa, the consumption by the Saudi nationals is even less. It's 6 kilos per year. We need to change the dietary habits. We need to improve the lifestyle of the local population. In 2030, just 8 years from now, there's going to be 40 million people living in this country. We need to provide a more healthy lifestyle, more healthy dietary options to the population. So this is why we need aquaculture in Saudi Arabia. We need to increase consumption. We need to increase seafood consumption for the reasons just explained. While we had 9 kilos, while we consumed 9 kilos, the rest of the world was consuming almost 21 kilos. We are below half of what the other countries are consuming. So it's not about consuming more seafood to improve dietary habits, to reduce social security costs. It's also about consuming more locally produced seafood so that we can provide new jobs, new investment, and reduce the food trade deficit. This is our plan, this is our vision. We estimate that the market is going to be, in 2030, is going to be around 700,000 to 800,000 tons. We estimate that consumption is going to be around 19 kilos per capita. With all the promotional and the marketing effort that we are doing, we do have an ambitious plan for aquaculture. We try to fill in this gap with almost 500,000 tons of fish produced in this country. And of course, we'll be able to export a lot. We cannot produce all the species that are required, so we will continue to have imports. But still, at 30, 40% share of the market is a very, very good rate for any country. Let's do a quick dive on where the industry is at the moment. We have a very, very long and successful history in shrimp aquaculture. There are big projects around the country. We have the biggest single project, single farm globally sited south of Jeddah in Alith. There's been significant investment in marine fish species. Again, we have a couple of projects, very successful, operating already along the Red Sea coast, using high-tech facilities, using all the latest technology that is available for aquaculture. The same continues along the production chain, the supply chain. We have very high standards, high food hygiene standards in the packaging units. Surprisingly enough, we have a growing fresh aquaculture sector. We produce mainly tilapia. There's a growing number of projects in the country. Sometimes we use this resource, we use water to pass it through fish, breed fish, grow fish, and then that water, that fertilized water, goes for agriculture or for aquaponics. So we have additional business units within that farm. Quite recently, we started seeing fish coming out from closed systems, inland closed systems, RAS systems with fresh water. So, and that is, again, a strongly developing sector within our industry. We have very good quality fish feed companies for all types of species that we produce here. And the main species currently produced, of course, it's shrimp, as we know. We also produce good amounts of good quantities of the Asian sea bass, also known as barramundi, sea bream, meager, but also tilapia coming from fresh water. We had an impressive increase between 2015 and 2018, an almost 200% increase within those years. Then, due to restructuring, and that comes from a dozen companies that operate here, we had a small reduction for a couple of years due to the restructuring of some companies, but now we're picking up. As you can see, freshwater aquaculture, again, is picking up. We do export our products in many countries around the world. We have 3 process and product quality drivers. We have applied a very robust biosecurity program all along the country. It's been going on for 6-7 years now, where we go out in the field, we collect samples from all farms, from the adjacent environment, from the market, to check for pathogens. We have a very, very concise plan. We have SOPs on what to do if there are any pathogens found in the farms or outside in the wild. We have certified our farms with international standards, with the Global Seafood Alliance, BAP. BAP is the best aquaculture practice certification scheme. At the moment, 95% to 98% of what we produce is third-party audited and certified by this globally acknowledged standard. We will be soon the only country in the world that has 100% of its production certified by third-party auditors. And then, that was the old logo, this is the new logo. And then we developed SAMAC. SAMAC is the national quality label. It stands for Saudi Arabian Mark for Aquaculture Quality. It's a robust quality label for the national products that gives visibility to our products in the local market. It's based on a Saudi Arabian Code of Responsible Practice that we have developed. Not many countries do have a Code of Responsible Practices, which is mandatory. And based on that, we have a checklist. It is more or less the checklist that BAP has. If you comply with these standards, or if you do have the BAP standard, then you are allowed, you're eligible to use the SAMAC logo in your products. You are awarded a certificate of compliance, and that means that you can market your products in the market with this national quality label. And this is how you find the products of the local industry in the market. The idea is to have on one side of the tag the ministry quality label, and on the other side the company logo, so that we create brand awareness for the companies that produce these good products. Again, this is another picture with the local producers for fish. Our aim is to have all national aquaculture products to be marketed under this SAMAC logo that indicate local origin, freshness, and the high quality of these products. We want to have more local seafood consumption. We've been doing some soft campaigns to increase awareness for these products. These are the banners that you usually see in supermarkets. We have distributed several thousands of leaflets in Arabic and in English explaining about aquaculture, local aquaculture, and about the industry. We have a demo showroom for SAMAC. We're trying to provide a new experience to consumers when buying seafood. And we also offer seafood in more convenient forms, in value-added forms, which are we've seen this is what the new generation requires. It's very difficult for the new generation to go and buy whole fish. They want value-added products. Our aim is to create employment all along the supply chain. And this is how we are going to achieve our goals which fall within the Vision 2030. We have ambitious goals. We can produce about 500,000 tons of seafood in the country. And we can do that because we have been blessed with the Red Sea. It's mainly the Red Sea. It's a coastline with low industrialization, low urbanization rate. It's a long, long coast. No river runoff, no waste river. Has very, very good depths, water currents, low wavelengths, and so on. So it's a gold mine for aquaculture, but we have to do it taking into account the delicate environment that we operate in. We have an obligation to do it in the most responsible way. We have 3 mega projects happening along the coast, and these mega projects and the scientific background that is already in these projects, the scientists that work in these projects are our own allies. We work together very close with them on how to produce and how to produce sustainably and how to protect the resources. We have a market of increasing population, young population, with a changing lifestyle. We're soon going to have visitors to these mega projects. We're going to have citizens to these mega projects that they are environmentally aware. We have a much, we start with a lower base. We have a low consumption rate, so we have a long way to go and bridge the gap to the global average. We are close to expanding markets in the region, but also in wider international markets. And there are also new consumption trends that we've seen. People eat a lot of fish outside, or they use the online sales to eat seafood in the house. So we have a very, very growing, steadily growing market. We've done a lot of work to promote investment. We've established a more business-friendly framework. There's a lot of government support. There's a number of incentives for the new farmers and for existing farmers. We have a relatively lower energy cost. There is a lower cost of land along the coast compared to other regions. And there's very, very good logistics all along the country, in the network all along the country. So if we move into production, there is unexploited potential still, a huge unexploited potential for marine cage aquaculture, for more intensive fish farming, for RAS systems, land-based recirculated aquaculture systems, for aquaponics, and also the complementary businesses that are required to further develop a strong aquaculture industry, whether this is feed mills or whether this is hatcheries or the logistics and distribution network. And of course, the processing and value-adding part of it. We tend to think of aquaculture as either being cages or ponds or closed systems, but in fact, aquaculture is a long chain of activities that take place, from the sourcing of raw material to making feed, all the way to how we transform feed to something that buyers want to consume. This is a chain, and we need to make sure that this chain is maintained. But there is also a lot of knowledge that can be created in that chain in all these 3 areas. We can develop knowledge. We can work on developing all these different segments to improve them, adapt them, improve them, and further develop them. Working with species, we are working with KAUST on a number of species on how to improve the efficiency of the species that we produce, but also how to improve efficiency of species that have a local market and are of local origin. There is heavy research activity going on in the country at the moment. We work on how to improve the growth rate, the biological FCR, but also the survival, the economical FCR, the food conversion ratio. We're working in areas of nutrition, in areas of disease prevention, and in areas of genomics. I'm going to make a quick parenthesis on the nutrition part because this is interesting for everyone to understand issues of sustainability. To produce this amount, we're going to need almost 1 million tons of feed for the animals in the water. That's a huge amount. And we cannot always import the raw materials. Typical fish feed contains fish meal and fish oil, plus a number of other products, usually of plant origin. These products, they come from plantations, not from this country. These plantations are sometimes are being done in areas where there's been a lot of deforestation. They use a lot of water, they use a lot of pesticides, and then they need to be transferred to the feed mill facilities. There is a huge environmental footprint there that we need to take out. There are solutions, and the solution is we can use seafood industry byproducts to create fish meal and use it in the feeds. We can use algae, and my colleague Claudio will give us later on solutions that we're working on. We can use insect meal, and we do have the opportunity to produce high-quality insect meal for the aquaculture industry. I know it sounds a bit yucky, but young fish in the lakes or close to the shore, they eat insects. It's part of their natural diet, and it doesn't alter the taste at all. So it's high-quality, very nutritious protein coming from insects. Or bacteria-based proteins. Again, this is a very novel ingredient that we need to work on in the years to come. So if you go back to this long chain of activities, of economic activities that support aquaculture, we can add the novel raw materials, and then we can also add the research and the know-how that we need to do also, not just in the production part, but also in the market. I'll give you an example. We've all been hearing about the success of salmon. We all know about the success of salmon. It's one species that has conquered the world. Why is that? Because out of this one species, we managed to make many products. We labeled it properly, and then we cut it in portions, in fillets, in steaks. We marinated, we smoked it, we pre-cooked it, we froze it, and it's available all over the world, conveniently available for consumers. This is what we must do for our products. People are not going to continue eating a whole fish. They're not going to continue buying a whole fish. That market segment is being diminished as the population grows, and as younger people enter the consumer segment. So we need to work with ready-to-cook products and ready-to-eat products. And there's a lot of research there. So research is not just on production, research is also on the market part. So we also add another segment in this long chain, which is the value-added processing of these products. And these are the contributors to Saudi Arabia's blue economy and to the GDP. Directly, aquaculture contributes through the production of fish, shrimp or algae, through the production of added value products, through the production of novel ingredients from algae, from exports, from direct employment, from private infrastructure that is coming directly to the aquaculture industry, from retail sales, from VAT, increased food consumption all along the supply chain, and with the related aquaculture public investment, the government-funded infrastructure. That could be either project infrastructure, it could be studies, reports, marketing campaigns, and so on. Indirectly, there's also contribution to the GDP from the employment that is being created in all these complementary areas, whether this is research, could be marketing research, environmental research, product quality control, the whole lot. Equipment that we produce, equipment that we employ in the farms, and again, it's investment in seafood packaging and processing and value-adding, investment in aquafeed production, novel ingredients, and so on. These are the direct and indirect contributors of aquaculture to the country's GDP. We want to move from a country that has high volume of imports, often of low quality, a country that has a food trade deficit, and there are financial losses there, and food insecurity. There's loss of potential GDP, and we need to move to a country where there is supply of high-quality local products. There is a reduction of seafood trade deficit. There are financial gains for the operators here, but we also contribute to food security for the nation, and there's also GDP increase. This is a blue economy for Saudi Arabia. We have a long way to go. We work close with the industry, with research institutions, with international organizations, with mega projects, and we are confident that we will achieve our goals. We have the support of all the players and, of course, of the King and His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince. He's giving us all the support that we need to move on to our ambitious plan. And that's it. We hope we're going to get there. Shukran. Thank you very much.